I think of authentic assessment as my ability to teach each student where they actually are. I'm Sarah Kaufman. I teach 6th grade humanities at School of the Future. In order to know where they actually are, I have to be able to assess them really specifically and in a variety of ways that are appropriate for that student, so that what I'm doing is every day giving that child an environment where they're challenged, where they feel good about what they're learning and they feel like they're learning.
What's been amazing to watch in Sarah's class as a 6th grade teacher is also she just is extremely rigorous in what she demands from the kids. And so her class really has high standards.
A lot of that work started with myself. When I would think about reading and I would do Post-its while I read to figure out what I was actually asking the students to do. And that led me to really break down the skill work into smaller pieces so that I could manage it. Because if I don't do that, my brain can't focus. So then what I do is assess the kids on skills on a continuum. So like what we saw this morning was I had collected a bunch of the kids' work on Friday. I had seen their reading logs. I had seen Post-its that they'd been making while they were reading that were observing, inferring, visualizing, and summarizing. And I took that work, I compared it to data I had already collected on the students by, taking a Post-it, comparing it on this continuum. And then I looked over the whole class and I thought about who needs what work where, and then use that to make groups. And then because I made that continuum, I could then pull the lessons that each group needed. So that eventually all of that becomes high-level analytical thinking.
We always work in groups, whether it's working on for writing or working on Post-its. Like even today in class, you guys saw how we were working with Post-it groups. What really helps is you have someone to talk to, and they share their ideas, so you can take off theirs, and you can have positive feedback and help a lot. My name is McCormack. I'm a 6th grader student at School of the Future.
I started with kids that were struggling more and had a more difficult task because of it. So that was the first table I went to. And at that table, I knew that they would need more upfront instruction because it was a harder skill for them. So then I could start there, but by the time I got to the 3rd table, all of those kids had already done one Post-it. So what the nice thing about that was it allowed me to first, before I even talked to the kids, knowing that those kids were stronger in that work, I could then look and see what they had done before even speaking to them. Giving them multiple opportunities to practice really allowed me, while I was going around the class, to maybe change the plan as needed. I try to structure a lot of time that way, so they have a little practice first, and then I can assess it if possible.
It's really great to just think about what you've been reading and just lets you recap and not forget anything and find the real purpose of what's going on. And it just lets you get the true meaning out of the book.
Eamon is a really strong student. In class today, he was talking about how he was really struggling to feel like he could find depth there in his thinking process. And I was like, well, what if we observe characters, across books and in patterns? What are we seeing over and over and over again? And we use that as the basis of your observation work. What does that free up? So even though he's very bright and very capable, he's still 11. There's still things that he needs to work on. I do as much as I can to make him feel like he's got something new to try that day. In 8 minutes is when you're going to have a break to talk to a partner, to tell them, what are you going to write on your Post-it that matches the work at your table?
She's an amazing 6th grade teacher because she really pushes the reading. She pushes the volume of writing and reading in her class is amazing. I think it's made such a difference in the tone that has come on off of the kids after they leave her to 7th and 8th. It establishes that tone that we were readers and writers in here, and continues that a lot from elementary school, but really takes it to the next level.
I've seen a lot of success as a teacher with kids who are really, really struggling, and they're so relieved that someone finally validated the fact that they are working really hard and it doesn't make sense. And then you can say, great, let's work on making it less hard, and here's how we're gonna do it. And as long as I think you have a plan, kids feel okay. It's when you just are yeah, and then you don't have a plan for them that they really struggle. But when you have a plan and they go, oh great, you've thought about this, you care about me, you know what I need, you're gonna help me, and then they can just allow themselves to do the work that they need to do.